Welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving into the mysterious and haunting world of Eye of the Devil, 1966, UK. This classic Gothic horror masterpiece is filled with secrets, hidden details, and eerie moments that many viewers have never noticed. From the chilling atmosphere of the French chateau to Sharon Tate's enigmatic debut performance, this film is a treasure trove of cinematic intrigue. In this video, we'll uncover surprising facts, behind-the-scenes stories, and fascinating insights that will change the way you see this iconic film forever. So grab your popcorn, hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into classic horror, and don't forget to share this video with your friends who love mysterious and cult films. Fact 01. The original title was 13. Originally, Eye of the Devil was set to be released under the title 13, a direct reference to the superstition surrounding the number 13. This numerical title was intended to foreshadow the sinister and ominous events that would unfold in the story, subtly preparing audiences for the film's dark undertones. However, the studio decided to change the title to Eye of the Devil to make it more marketable internationally and to emphasize the film's mysterious and occult elements, rather than rely on a simple superstition. The new title evoked the idea of an unseen, watchful presence, suggesting a supernatural force manipulating the characters' fates, which heightened the suspense and eerie atmosphere. Interestingly, rare promotional materials from the era still feature the original title, making them highly collectible and a fascinating footnote in the history of British horror cinema. The evolution of the film's title demonstrates how marketing and thematic emphasis can significantly shape audience perception even before the first frame is seen. Fact 02. Sharon Tate's voice was dubbed. In her feature film debut, Sharon Tate's character, Odile, had her voice dubbed during post-production, a decision made to align with the director's vision for her ethereal and enigmatic presence. While Tate's natural vocal tone was charming, the filmmakers opted for a more haunting and otherworldly voice to enhance the occult atmosphere of the story. Despite this, Tate's physical performance, her expressive eyes, gestures, and subtle movements carried the emotional weight and conveyed the character's intrigue and vulnerability, allowing her to leave a lasting impression on the audience. This dubbing choice became a point of debate among fans and critics, some of whom argued that it diminished Tate's authentic charm, while others felt it added to the unsettling, dreamlike quality of the film. Over time, Tate's debut has become iconic, demonstrating her potential as a screen presence and foreshadowing her future roles in suspense and horror films. The contrast between her dubbed voice and physical acting gives modern viewers an opportunity to analyze the creative decisions in 1960s cinema. Fact 03. Filmed at Château de Hautefort. The primary location for Eye of the Devil was the breathtaking Château de Hautefort in France, a Gothic estate with centuries of history that provided a naturally haunting backdrop for the film. The chateau's towering spires, ornate facades, and sprawling gardens created an atmosphere that perfectly complemented the story's supernatural and suspenseful elements, effectively becoming a character in its own right. Filming at the location presented logistical challenges, including navigating narrow corridors with heavy equipment, managing natural lighting, and maintaining the moodiness essential for the film's tension. The chateau's eerie ambience influenced not only the visual style, but also the performances, as actors responded to the space's historic and imposing aura. Today, the Château de Hautefort continues to draw fans of classic Gothic cinema, who visit to experience firsthand the setting of this atmospheric horror film. The combination of authentic location, architectural grandeur, and careful cinematography helped make Eye of the Devil a visually unforgettable piece of 1960s British horror. Fact 04. Kim Novak was initially cast. Before Deborah Kerr stepped into the role of Catherine de Montfaucon, the legendary actress Kim Novak had been originally cast to play the lead. Novak's involvement promised a very different interpretation of the character, likely emphasizing glamour and psychological nuance over the subtle gravitas Kerr would later bring. However, scheduling conflicts and creative differences with director J. Lee Thompson ultimately led to her departure, paving the way for Kerr, whose understated performance added a sophisticated tension to the narrative. This casting change significantly influenced the film's tone, shifting it from potentially glamorous suspense to a more gothic, haunting atmosphere. Some behind-the-scenes anecdotes suggest that the production team scrambled to adjust character dynamics and wardrobe designs to accommodate Kerr's interpretation. Film historians often note that such casting adjustments, while common, can have ripple effects on plot perception and audience engagement. Fans of classic horror cinema remain fascinated by this what-if scenario, imagining how the film might have differed with Novak's distinctive presence. Fact 05 Sharon Tate's character was a witch. Sharon Tate's debut role as Odile in Eye of the Devil introduced her as a character deeply entwined with pagan rituals and occult undertones. Odile's enigmatic presence and subtle gestures conveyed a mystical aura that made audiences question her intentions and alliances. Tate's performance combined innocence with a sense of otherworldly knowledge, creating tension between her character and the more rational figures around her. The film's narrative suggests she possesses hidden powers, heightening the suspense and drawing viewers into the story's mysterious folklore-inspired setting. This portrayal not only helped Tate establish her on-screen persona, but also contributed to the film's enduring cult status among horror and occult enthusiasts. Fans often analyze her scenes for symbolic gestures and hidden meanings, further enriching the lore of the film. Her character remains a striking example of how early horror cinema used young actresses to personify the intersection of innocence and supernatural intrigue. Fact 06 The film's atmosphere was inspired by folk horror. Eye of the Devil is frequently associated with the emerging folk horror subgenre of the 1960s and 1970s, similar in tone to films like The Wicker Man. Its depiction of isolated communities steeped in superstition and arcane rituals reflects societal fears about tradition versus modernity. The filmmakers incorporated local myths, pagan ceremonies, and rural landscapes to create an unsettling and immersive atmosphere. The script and visual design intentionally emphasize isolation, not only of the characters, but of the narrative itself, making the audience feel removed from normal societal norms. Cinematographer Ted Moore employed shadowy lighting and careful framing to enhance suspense and evoke a sense of hidden menace lurking in everyday spaces. By blending Gothic architecture, ancient myths, and psychological tension, Eye of the Devil helped solidify the folk horror aesthetic, influencing subsequent films and establishing a template for stories exploring human fear intertwined with supernatural folklore. Fact 07 The film's score added to its haunting mood. The haunting score of Eye of the Devil played a pivotal role in shaping the film's suspenseful atmosphere. Composed by Ron Goodwin, a prolific British composer, the music combined orchestral tension with eerie motifs to amplify the sense of foreboding throughout the film. The score subtly underlined key moments of mystery, often foreshadowing plot twists before they occurred on screen. Goodwin used dissonant harmonies and recurring melodic fragments to create an almost hypnotic effect, which worked hand-in-hand with the visual design and performances. Critics have praised the soundtrack for its ability to manipulate audience emotions, making calm scenes feel ominous and heightening the impact of climactic revelations. For modern viewers, the score remains a standout feature, demonstrating how music can serve as an invisible yet powerful narrative guide. The collaboration between composer and director exemplifies the meticulous attention to atmosphere that characterized British horror cinema in the 1960s. Fact 08 The film explored themes of superstition and fate. At its core, Eye of the Devil delves deeply into superstition, destiny, and the tension between rationality and belief. The narrative examines how fear of the unknown shapes human behavior, using the secluded French chateau and its surrounding village as a microcosm for societal adherence to ritual and tradition. Characters are forced to navigate a world where ancient customs dictate actions and outcomes, highlighting the fragile boundary between choice and predestination. Scenes depicting occult practices, mysterious symbols, and cryptic warnings immerse the audience in a web of uncertainty, making the suspense more psychological than purely visual. The film's exploration of fate versus free will resonates with viewers who appreciate horror that challenges the intellect as well as the nerves. This thematic complexity has contributed to the film's lasting appeal among cult audiences, offering layers of meaning that reward repeated viewings. Fact 09: Filming techniques enhance suspense. The cinematography in Eye of the Devil played a crucial role in building tension and unease throughout the film. Director J. Lee Thompson collaborated closely with cinematographer Ted Moore to use low angles, shadow-filled corridors, and strategic framing that made the chateau feel both majestic and menacing. Long tracking shots followed characters through labyrinthine hallways, creating a sense of claustrophobia and impending danger. Natural lighting from windows and flickering candles was often used to cast unsettling shadows, enhancing the eerie mood. The deliberate pacing of shots, combined with sudden visual reveals, kept audiences constantly on edge. These techniques were particularly innovative for the 1960s, blending traditional Gothic horror visuals with a more modern, psychological style of suspense. By manipulating perspective and light, the film created an almost tangible sense of dread, demonstrating how technical mastery can significantly heighten the horror experience. Fact 10: The film's villain was subtly portrayed. Unlike many horror films of the era, Eye of the Devil refrains from presenting a clearly defined villain. Instead, the sense of menace arises from the collective behavior of the villagers and the oppressive atmosphere of the chateau. This subtle approach makes the horror psychological, forcing viewers to question motives and intentions. Every minor action by secondary characters, from furtive glances to cryptic warnings, contributes to the pervasive unease. This indirect portrayal of threat challenges the audience to interpret danger rather than simply react to it. Director J. Lee Thompson intentionally avoided overt violence in favor of tension derived from ambiguity and fear of the unknown. As a result, the film's suspense relies on atmosphere, dialogue, and character interactions, demonstrating how understated storytelling can be more haunting than overt scares. This nuanced depiction has made Eye of the Devil a reference point for psychological horror enthusiasts. Fact 11: Costume design reflected character psychology. The costume design in Eye of the Devil played a vital role in expressing character and mood. Deborah Kerr's wardrobe emphasized elegance and composure, highlighting her rational and poised demeanor in contrast to the chaotic rituals surrounding her. Sharon Tate's costumes, on the other hand, were ethereal and whimsical, reinforcing her mysterious, otherworldly aura. Supporting characters were dressed in muted, earthy tones that reflected their connection to superstition, tradition, and the natural world, visually signaling their integration into the occult practices. Every outfit was carefully chosen to communicate subtle narrative cues, ensuring that even without dialogue, viewers could sense the hierarchy, personality, and alignment of characters. The costumes also enhanced the film's gothic and supernatural aesthetic, creating a seamless blend of visual storytelling, character psychology, and thematic resonance. The attention to detail in wardrobe continues to impress film historians and fans alike. Fact 12: Real occult practices inspired scenes. Some of the rituals depicted in Eye of the Devil were inspired by actual European folk customs and pagan ceremonies. The filmmakers researched traditional practices such as harvest rituals and sacrificial rites to lend authenticity to the story. While dramatized for cinematic effect, these scenes reflected historical beliefs about fate, nature, and the supernatural. This attention to authenticity contributed to the unsettling atmosphere, as viewers sensed a kernel of truth beneath the fictional horror. Props, symbolic objects, and ritualistic movements were meticulously designed to mirror real-life folklore, creating a heightened sense of realism. By blending fact and fiction, the film invited audiences into a world that felt simultaneously fantastical and disturbingly plausible, demonstrating the power of grounded research in crafting compelling horror narratives. Fact 13: Production faced weather challenges. Filming on location in France came with unexpected challenges, particularly related to weather. The chateau's gardens and surrounding countryside were essential to many scenes, yet unpredictable rainfall and mist complicated shooting schedules. Crew members had to protect delicate costumes and lighting equipment from sudden downpours while maintaining continuity between scenes. The foggy conditions, while problematic for production, ultimately enhanced the film's eerie atmosphere, creating natural suspense and adding depth to outdoor shots. Directors and cinematographers often embraced these conditions, turning obstacles into stylistic advantages, which contributed to the authentic Gothic ambience. These weather-related difficulties demonstrate how unplanned elements can be creatively incorporated to strengthen the visual and emotional impact of a film. Fact 14. The film inspired later occult horror. Eye of the Devil influenced the development of later occult and folk horror films in Britain and Europe. Its atmospheric approach, focus on isolated communities, and exploration of superstition inspired directors working on films such as The Wicker Man and The Blood on Satan's Claw. The combination of psychological tension, Gothic visuals, and subtle supernatural elements created a template for storytelling that valued mood and ambiguity over explicit gore. Film scholars often cite it as an early example of the haunted location trope, where the setting itself amplifies fear. Modern horror filmmakers continue to draw from the techniques pioneered in this film, from shadowy cinematography to the careful integration of folklore and ritual, cementing its legacy in the genre.
Fact 15. Cult following developed over time. Although Eye of the Devil was not a blockbuster upon release, it gradually developed a devoted cult following. Horror enthusiasts and film historians appreciate its subtle approach to suspense, compelling performances, and visually rich Gothic aesthetic. Fans are particularly drawn to the interplay between superstition, fate, and psychological tension, which distinguishes it from more conventional horror of the 1960s. The film has been rediscovered through retrospective screenings, DVD releases, and online streaming, allowing new generations to engage with its eerie narrative. Collectors seek out rare promotional materials, lobby cards, and behind-the-scenes photographs, further cementing the film's status as a treasured piece of cinematic history. Its enduring popularity illustrates how atmospheric storytelling and meticulous craftsmanship can ensure a film's relevance long after its initial release.
And that's a wrap on the hidden secrets and fascinating facts about Eye of the Devil, 1966, UK. From its Gothic locations to the subtle supernatural hints, this film continues to captivate audiences decades after its release. Which fact surprised you the most, and what's your favorite scene in the movie? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, share it with fellow horror fans, and subscribe to our channel for more intriguing explorations of classic films and hidden cinematic gems. Stay tuned for our next journey into the shadows of cinema.